Last video of 2021, and as such, it warrants something special. I'll be running a 30% sale of my patches from today until the first week of January. No code is required, all prices have already been slashed, so if you've been thinking about trying out my take on the praise worship sound, head on over to my Buy Me a Coffee or my Weebly page. In my last video, I talked about tweaking to make the stock amp cab block sound great. On the Helix Stomp and Helix, we have more tools at our disposal to make it sound even better. Coming up. Hello and welcome to the video. If this is our first time meeting, my name is Justin and I'm all about worship guitar, helping you sound and play your best for Jesus. Please consider subscribing and hitting that bell notification button to support these videos and my ministry. If you've met before, welcome back. Full disclosure, the information shared today can be applied across the Line 6 ecosystem, especially on the Helix where you have 2 DSP chips. However, for the Pod Go, take note that you will have to sacrifice some blocks like compressor or overdrive since you only have 4 blocks at your disposal. So in my last video, I talked about the sufficiency of one amp and one cab, and the tweaking strategies to make them sound good. In continuation of our tone experiments to make the most of our stock amps and cabs, today I'll share what we can do on the Helix Stomp, which has more blocks for us to use than the Pod Go. Number 1. Stereo enhancement. There are several big names in the patchmaker space for Line 6 products like Alex Stravela and David Hislop, and they are known to create massive sounding patches. The trick is to use a simple delay block to displace one side of the stereo signal. Essentially, this is the Haas effect. What is the Haas effect? It is a psychoacoustic phenomena where if one sound is followed by another with a delay time of approximately 40 milliseconds or less below humans' echo threshold, the two are perceived as a single sound. Science gobbledygook aside, what's really interesting is that by displacing one side of a stereo signal by a short delay, we can artificially achieve depth and spaciousness. On the Helix, you can achieve the Haas effect with a simple delay block anywhere on a split Y path. But what about on the Helix Stomp? How do you achieve this on a single signal path? This is where we can use the dual delay block. It's a stereo effect that processes left and right sides of the signal, which is perfect for our use case. The trick here is to disable delay processing on one side while setting the Haas effect parameters on the other. In this example, we're going to configure the left side delay for the Haas effect and disable the right side delay. Let's first disable the right side. Set the time to 0, the feedback to 0, and the mix to 0. Next, let's configure the left side. Set the time to 9 milliseconds arbitrarily for now, the feedback to 0, and the mix to 100%. Remember to turn the modulation off because we want a pristine, clean, 100% reproduction of the stereo signal. Congratulations, you now have a stereo enhancer that processes on a single signal path. We can now experiment how spacious you want the Haas effect to be. I typically set it between 9 to 12 milliseconds, but feel free to push the boundaries to 15 milliseconds and above. Take note, however, that the higher you go, the closer you risk having the signal being perceived as two separate sounds instead of a large stereo sound. Number 2, effect stacking. If you're on the 3.0 update and above, you have 8 blocks. Let's do some elimination. Compressor, overdrive, amp cap, EQ, Haas effect, delay, and reverb. That leaves you with one more block as the wild card for specific use case scenarios. On my patches, I typically reserve this slot for modulation and song-specific special effects like the chorus, tremolo, and my personal favorite, the Seeker filter. You can also get creative with this extra block and begin to make more complex wet sections by stacking 2 reverbs or 2 delays, post or preamp. Are you looking to dial in Bethel and Hillsong style tones? Putting a mono delay or reverb preamp cab will achieve wet section crunch, especially if your amp is already dialed in at the edge of breakup. This better approximates the signal chains of our favorite guitarists, since they front load their amps with delay and reverb from their pedal boards. Yes, I said mono delay and reverb, because anything before the amp cap block is going to be summed to mono anyway. This is great because we can save DSP when using the mono wet section blocks. Don't dial in the preamp delay or reverb too wet, otherwise you hit that saturation too soon. To summarize, 8 blocks is plenty to create a complex tone with stock sounds. You could either go with increased flexibility and use a wildcard effect, or you could add delay and reverb preamp to better approximate the wet section crunch as heard from our favorite PNW players. Which brings us to today's bonus and question of the day. If you're liking the sounds of these patches, they're available on my AIO patch pack for a special price that will run into the middle of January, so head on over to my Buy Me a Coffee page. For those of you who transact via PayPal, they're available on my Weebly shopfront. All links are in the description box below. QOTD, what is your approach to improving the stock sounds on your Line 6 device? I'd love to hear your ideas and thoughts in the comment section below. That's it from me. Thanks for watching this video. If you've gotten value out of it, like it and share it with someone who you know is interested in crafting tones for the Line 6 Helix, HX Stomp, and Pod Go. Until next time, I'm Justin, and I'm all about worship guitar. See you in 2022.